Hello everyone, this is Saurabh. Welcome to the Options Engineer channel. Today I'm going to cover in this session some research on the options pricing of different structures and how it fits into designing the Skyline strategies enabled by the Options Engineer OS. Let me start with a simple butterfly pricing puzzle. Two butterflies can have the same width, the same distance from spot, and the same expiration, yet still priced very differently. I'll show that exact example in the OS. The key idea is that pricing is not something we check after design. Pricing is one of the inputs that helps determine the structure. Here is the debit spread example. Near spot, the put spread can be cheaper than the equidistant call spread, while farther away, the comparison can flip. I also want to be explicit that this is not only a butterfly or a spread idea. The same pricing logic affects condors through wing and body placement, and it affects calendars through term structure and forward volatility. I'll show the specific example in the OS demo. Yeah, we are on the Options Engineering OS, and two butterflies here, 2 DTE from today, expiring this Friday, and they are equidistant from the spot. The market closed somewhere around 7750 today, and the butterfly on this side is 7720, 7700, and 7680. So 30 points from the spot, and similarly for the butterfly on the call side or the upside is 7780, 7800, and 7820. We can see the net debit for the upside butterfly is higher than the net debit for the downside butterfly. These are balanced butterflies, so these could also be a credit butterfly. In that case, the credit would be different in the two butterflies. Now let's look at another butterfly example. So this is where it is almost 50 points, 7700 from the current spot, and we also have the similar butterfly on the upside, which is 50 points above the spot. So, and they are both butterflies are 50 point wide, but what we can see is the debit for the downside butterfly is 390 for one contract, and debit for the upside butterfly is 585. So similar payoff, same distance, but the pricing varies, and I will get into that as we go back to the presentation mode. So now let's look at an example of a put debit spread and a call debit spread. So here we have a debit spread 30 points from the spot, 720, 7700, and the market is around 7750. Similarly, we have a call debit spread of 7780 and 7800, like 30 points away from the spot. So what we can see is that the debit for the put spread is quite a bit lower for one contract, 690 for a 20-point debit spread and 920 for a 20-point call debit spread. And this is less than 1% from the spot, but this kind of shows how the pricing behaves as we look at nearby debit spreads. Now let's look at quite a bit far out of money debit spread on a put side and a call side. So this is 7520 and the market is at 7750. So we are 230 points on SPX away from the spot. And similarly, we are 230 points away from the spot on the call side. But what we can see is now that the debit spread for a put debit spread has increased in cost, and for the call debit spread has reduced in cost. Now let's look at a condor example. So here we have a condor which is 50 points away from the spot approximately, and is 25 point wide, and this is on the downside, and it has a net debit of 215, meaning it has higher credit if it was a credit condor. And when we look at the call condor or the upside condor, it has a net debit of $310. So we can see there is how the pricing varies based on where the structure is placed. Now, similarly, we can look at a double diagonal calendar spread. So here we can see that we are selling a near-dated call and buying a far-dated call, and the pricing of this spread is 1725, and it's 100 points away from the spot. And similarly, the put calendar is 7650, is approximately 100 points away from the spot, and the pricing is 1575. So here also there is some pricing difference, though they are equidistant from the spot. After this demo, the question is why this happens. So the answer is not skew alone. Pricing reflects the underlying level and moneyness, the volatility surface, time to expiration, and broader regime. Delta and the Greeks help describe the resulting sensitivities, while VIX gives context on the overall SPX volatility environment. In this deck, the goal is not to go through the full pricing model. The goal is to show through research that the observed market pricing surface can be used as an input into engineering design of Skyline-like strategies. Pricing gives us a quantitative lens across multiple structures. A spread prices a local region, a butterfly samples local curvature, a condor combines price regions into a zone, and a calendar adds the time dimension. For options engineering, the practical question is, what does one unit of debit or capital at risk buy in this part of the surface? This is where the topic connects directly to Skyline. Skew, implied volatility, and DTE influence what each component costs. The cost information that helps determine centers, widths, overlaps, floors, timing, total debit, and capital at risk. The same pricing aware logic can also be used when designing condors, calendars, but Skyline is where I am applying it most directly, which is a combination of different types of structures. 3 simple takeaways. Equal distance does not mean equal pricing. Skew and volatility change what capital at risk and debit can buy. And pricing should inform structure design. That applies to different types of structures such as butterflies, spread, condors, and calendars that integrate into the Skyline design through the options engineering OS and framework. Thank you for watching. If this is useful, please like, subscribe, and scan the QR code for more research videos and educational content.